accept after I said,
Yeah, and then it like loaded, and I think we're all good now.
all right, well, that was a little stressful. Hey, of course, lighting is not that great right now, so I gotta pull down my shade. But today we're gonna have a chat with Ashley. She did my 3-month one-on-one program. I'm gonna ask her some questions. She's gonna essentially share her experience with me, what she's overcome. So if you guys have any questions, whoever is on a Saturday afternoon, I don't know, it's snowy where I'm at, snowy where you're at. So maybe people are home or they're playing in the snow, one or two. But we will go ahead and start out asking Ashley some questions. So, Ashley, what was your day-to-day life like before we started working together?
Yeah, so before I was drinking, a lot of caffeine. I was doing intermittent fasting, which I know we'll touch on a little bit later. But I was doing the intermittent fasting, drinking black coffee in the morning, and then eating around 12. And I was getting like a lot of cravings prior to your program of like just sugar and, chocolate and everything like that. I was drinking a lot of seltzer water, which I know was one of my big questions for you when we started because like seltzer water was my thing with carbonation in it. And I know when we started, you were like, that could be causing some of your bloating issues. So that's like all I was drinking before. As well as just getting like really bad PMS cramps, symptoms like that prior to, like that was like my normal life, bloating as well. So that was all like stuff that I was dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and I get that question a lot from some of my clients too, like, can I drink soda or can I even have something like Zevia? Like that's made with stevia, so that's a little better option if you have that soda craving. I'm just like, well, that carbonation could cause a little bit of bloating and belching. So
Mm-hmm.
just tread lightly and just kind of monitor things if you notice all of a sudden you're getting this bloating and belching. So for me, if I have like 2 sips of soda, I start burping automatically. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
insane. So it's just something I have to personally stay away from. And as far as the intermittent fasting, a lot of people do it because they feel so good. And the reason is because, yeah, you're giving your digestion a break because you're fasting for so long, but that's not getting to the root issue, of what really is causing that. Now, for you, when you did the intermittent fasting, was it just something you just read about on the internet, or like what kind of brought you to that?
Yeah, it was definitely just like the trend. I guess it's even still like going on. I was just reading a lot about it, and like on the internet, it was telling you like all the positive. Like you said, it gives your digestive system like a break, and you can lose weight that way. So I was like, okay, like I'll give it a try. But it was crazy because when 12 o'clock hit, like my husband would joke, he was like, everyone stay out of the kitchen because Ashley has like 5 meals going at once because I was starving.
Yeah.
And so that was like really when I was like, I don't know if this is actually working because I'm just loading myself up with all this food right when 12 o'clock hit. And it kind of like backfired, it seemed like.
Right. Yeah. I mean, essentially any diet is good short term. You know what I mean? So that's why, yeah, keto is good like short term, like 6 weeks. Like anything is good short term. It's good to have that diet variety, but essentially just doing something so you can feel better isn't going to solve the problem. You know what I mean? And now
Mhm.
you learned that, and you kind of just started getting more in tune with your body. So kind of moving on to the next question, what is it like for you now?
So now also like another huge thing that we figured out was gluten was like a big issue with me. And so like prior to starting this, I was eating a lot of gluten and I didn't realize that that was one of my biggest factors. So right now, I really don't have gluten in my diet, which has been a huge help. I don't drink caffeine, which I learned like from starting with you. I was like, okay, if we're doing the first flush phase for 2 weeks and we're not allowed to have caffeine, I was like looking into it. I was like, why, like what are the benefits? So then like reading that it could help, I mean, it could potentially allow you to not absorb all of your food, like the nutrients in the food, like it can potentially block some of that. I was like, wow, maybe I should just try to like stick with not having it. And it honestly stuck, which has been really nice.
Yeah,
um,
lot of people struggle with taking the caffeine out and the coffee and
Yeah, without that 2 week flush, I don't think I could have stopped, honestly. But I was like, I'm doing the flush. I might as well see if I can continue it. So that was a really good starting point for that. And then also just no bloating has been huge. Like I can't even begin to tell you how much better that has felt just every single day. So that's probably the biggest one.
yeah, a lot of people think bloating is normal, which it really isn't. Like once in a blue moon, yeah, but you shouldn't have it every day. Like that's not normal. And a lot of people think that's normal. I'm like, no, not normal. There's a reason behind that bloating. But yeah, that's with a lot of girls. I feel like 90% come to me with bloating issues. You know, it's just so common. Now, what programs, diets, workouts did you try before working with me?
Yeah, so we already touched on the intermittent fasting. I did that for like leading up to when I started with you. And then I also did the keto diet for a year. And that I think really set me back a lot with even my hormonal issues because I had no idea that not having carbs could like transform into like your hormones being reduced and then like that caused me really bad migraines when I was doing keto, and it took me like up until like the end of that year to link that the keto was like giving me these migraines, which I didn't think was even possible.
Right. And you know, the big thing is too, a lot of people don't realize your thyroid thrives off of carbs and keto's taking that away from you. Like I said, short term, it's okay, but not lifestyle, you know? So you're taking the gasoline, you know, that you need for that fire, which is for the thyroid to fire off when you're not giving it carbs. So people shouldn't be so scared of carbs. It's just like what quality, how much you're intaking, what your body needs. So like I learned that firsthand. I really screwed my thyroid up when I did all the dieting, you know, before functional medicine, and I knew the why behind things, you know. So
and another thing with the keto too, like I did get results like you were mentioning, like it works short term, but I had no energy. Like I remember literally having to go to bed at like 8 o'clock when I put my kids down to sleep because I could not even keep my eyes open.
oh my gosh.
So it wasn't until like towards the end of it that I was like, this is not right. Like it just was not a good lifestyle.
Right, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's easy. It happens quick, but it's just something you just can't be on long term. You know, we learn from those, you know, mistakes. You know, that's how we get better at things. You know.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? You stayed so consistent and had results with this program that you did with me.
I would definitely say like even we touched on just my mindset, I think completely shifted once we started working together, really just figuring out like why my body needs like that everything is kind of like working together, like everything's connected and like in order to get your body in sync, you need to really eat right and just know like what you're intaking. So I think just my mindset completely shifted, which allowed me to stay on track because I was like, look, if I'm not doing this and my body's gonna feel like it was before. So
Right.
really just seeing those results as well made me like stick to it because I'm like, wow, this is what it's supposed to feel like, you know, when everything's working together.
Yeah, it just made you be more in tune with your body as well, going through this and understanding things. I remember you were a little hesitant when I said, okay, we're going to stop this intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I added in some medical grade supplements that made you a little nervous. I'm like, just trust me on this.
Yeah.
And you had to physically go through the process to understand why. And you're like, okay, I see why she is doing all these things.
Yes, definitely.
All right. So what were your main goals you wanted to achieve coming into this program with me?
I would say the main goal was just my gut issues. Like I remember getting off the phone with you whenever we first had our first consultation, and I just like got off the phone. I just started crying because I was like, I'm so happy that I've gotten to this point where I need somebody to help me, but it was also just scary emotions as well. But it really, I mean, my gut issues were just to that point where I was like, I need some somebody to help me because nothing I was trying was working. Like I was cutting things out, like I was not eating dairy because I was like, oh, that'll fix it. Didn't fix it. So that's where I was like, I'm cutting all this stuff out and I'm still having the exact same problem.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people do. They'll try to do it on their own. They'll do this, they'll do that, because they just want to have that gratification that they did it. But it's okay to get help. I know you even told me you were hesitant about reaching out, but you just knew you needed to because nothing else is working. That's what usually happens when ladies come to me is because they're at their last resort. They tried all the things and they're like, I give up. I need you now. And that's where I come in and then I clean things up.
Yeah, that was exactly me too, like 100%. I just needed something else.
Yeah, I mean, just the progress you made. You can just tell you're less swollen all over from the before and after pictures. And people that are watching, I already did post your before and after this past week. You can always take a look at them. But you can just see how your body just kind of toned up and like you're just, you're not as bloated. Like you can just see, you can see you feel better and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And, I have to say you were very consistent with the process, and that's the reason why you got results too. You listened to me, you didn't stray, and that's what got you results.
And even like with the workouts, I remember being on the phone with you and you were like, well, my workout program comes with it. And I was like, but I'm already doing my own workouts. Like I was very like, I can still do my workouts. Like I like that process, but I told you every week, like your workouts are my favorite part of this, which I was not expecting.
Yeah, a lot of people don't, and it probably was nice too because it kind of, it was, I guess I want to say less stress on you because it was already mapped out for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just like, oh, this is a nice little change up, and this app tells me when to do it and all these things, so yeah, that just makes the process a little bit easier. And obviously, as you know, any type of change is hard. Something you've been doing for a while, and then someone's like, okay, I don't want you to do this. It's going to be hard. You're like, but once you do that, it's usually always ends up better in the long run. You just got to just go with it. I guess this is best thing to say.
Yes.
I know we have you eating a lot more, food than you were before we started for sure. Did you ever think that you could lose weight while eating so much food? Because we really didn't diet you that far.
No.
And then I started giving you free meals each week. So I'm like, girl, have a free meal because your body's responding so well. You know?
No, and even just like eating the rice and like the carbs, because I told you like with keto, I was in that mindset of like the carbs are bad, but like now it's like I can really eat stuff that I want to, like I'm still watching my gluten and everything like that, but as far as everything else, like I'm eating rice every single day, eating oatmeal in the morning, and that's like consistently all the time, and I'm still seeing the results, which is amazing.
Yeah, because I remember even just having some outings with your friends, you had a couple like alcohol drinks and you didn't gain weight, like essentially at the end, like your body just kind of leveled out because we have your body functioning as optimal as it should. You should be able to bounce back like that.
Exactly.
And if you're gaining like 3 to 5 pounds from one night out, there's something going on.
Mm-hmm. And even just going out, like even last night I went out with my husband, had a few drinks, and we ate dinner and I didn't feel bloated. And I feel like I tell everybody after, like my husband, like my dad and my sister, I'm like, look, I went out to eat and I didn't even feel bloated. Like that to me is amazing because it was never like that before.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just crazy, how much inflammation and bacterial overgrowth, what it can cause to your body, how it can affect your immune system. And I tell people 80% of your immune system is in the gut. So if you got a lot of inflammation in there or bacteria that shouldn't be in there, it's going to cause a systemic reaction. And if that's when you start doing all this nitpicking like you did. You took carbs out, you took this out, and it wasn't working. Well, you weren't the issue. And I knew we had to address gut inflammation hormones. I already knew that by just you telling me your symptoms. I'm just like, yep, I know exactly what's going on with her. It's just going to be the process that we're going to work. So, but otherwise, like, yeah, like I'm just proud of your process. I mean, you just did amazing. And you'll do great moving forward. You got all the knowledge in your head now. Know what to kind of understand and look for. You know what habits you need to keep up. So hopefully this live was insightful for a lot of people that maybe want to join, but they're on the fence because they're like, is this for me, or do I want to do all these other things first before I come to her? A lot of people get nervous with the investment, but I find when you invest, you're more apt to stick to it as well.
Yeah.
At least that's how I work.
Yeah, that was definitely part of it too. Because I'm like, I'm paying for this. Like, I definitely want to make sure I get my money's worth. And it was beyond what I expected, honestly.
So, but now you know about functional medicine, what it can do for your body, and, taking all them tools and moving forward. Otherwise, like, I really appreciate you doing this live with me. Do you have other comments or anything to say before we hop off and end this?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just want to touch on like what you're saying, like after the process. Like, I honestly feel like I have all the knowledge and the tools, like you mentioned, to just keep going with this. And now that I know that my body's supposed to feel like this, that's another reason why I'm just continuing on with it, because like this is how I'm supposed to be feeling. So it really has made my entire outlook change on everything. So I can definitely keep going with it.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I know you do fine.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, but yeah, so I think that's about it. Kind of short and sweet to the point, and so people have a little bit more knowledge. And otherwise, I guess we'll talk later. We'll keep
Yeah,
in touch.
sounds good. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
All
Talk
right.
to you later.